Fantasy football junkies. You are tuned in to the #1 source for fantasy prognostication. It's Testosterone Fantasy Sports with your hosts, Jeff and Jesse. So listen up. Here's your chance to gain the edge over the competition and dominate your fantasy football league. Every week we break down all of the matchups and tell you who to play as well as who should ride the pine. This is the joint that every fantasy junkie needs, so check it out!
Welcome, fantasy football freaks and Minnesota Viking faithful. This is the Week 11 episode of Testosterone Fantasy Sports. I'm your host, Jeff, with you as always. With me today, my best friend in the world, Jesse.
What is up, Jeffrey? It's good to be back in the studio with you, doing the show we love to do out there for the fantasy football faithful. However, it's definitely a painful week to be a Minnesota Vikings fan. You know, honestly, on most weeks, Jeff, I long to do the show. I look forward to it ardently. But after the absolute ass kicking we took last weekend at Green Bay and our best player caught some knee grizzle, it's hard for me to get up, especially for this purple segment today.
Well, you can feel here in the studio that the regular excitement level is not quite there. We don't have the energy we normally would. We're sad about Adrian's knee. The first time we've ever been shut out by the Packers, a horrible 34-0 drubbing at the hands of our biggest rival, and it sucks, man. I'm down about it.
Yeah, last weekend I got up for the game big time. I had myself convinced that since this squad hadn't really been blown out of any game all season long, had kind of hung in there in some really difficult spots, namely at Dallas, had squeezed out a win on the road at Soldier Field. I had myself convinced, Jeff, that we were going to at least be competitive with our arch rivals, but instead we got blown out and shut out for the first time in the history of this rivalry. Really an embarrassing loss for the Purple, and to add insult to injury, thank God not a worse injury for number 28 Adrian Peterson, but he did take a hit on his knee and tore one of the lesser important ligaments in his knee. But still, Jeff, all in all, just an absolute crappy week to be a Purple fan.
Yeah, it's been really tough. It's the lateral collateral ligament that Adrian's dealing with, a slight tear. There's all kinds of speculation about how long will he be out for. I've seen some people say as early as week 12 he could be back. Jesse, I'm kind of hoping that they rest him for a few weeks, give him 4 weeks of rest. On the fantasy field, he's not going to help your team, obviously. If you're needing to get in the playoffs, you might want to think about trading him at this point because you're going to garner some kind of value for him. But still, it's tough to win with a player who's injured, and he's been such a spark plug for your team that you might need to think about going a different direction with him, and then try to get him next season because he'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in annual redraft leagues. If you got him in a dynasty league, you're going to just want to hold your cards. He's going to be one of the best players of all time. But what we're starting to hear about in some internet rumors and different postings on different blogs, and Sean Jensen of the Pioneer Press kind of hinting around that Adrian might be medically available to play here in the next week or two. And
even our set is having a hard time today.
What's the deal, man? What's the deal? We're flying the Vikings flag at half-mast.
Yeah, half-mast.
Oh.
Now we're flying it at no mast. So I guess I say we just continue to roll on with this segment.
May as well.
I've got a message. I know that you watch our show, Adrian. So as you're watching this segment, I just want to share a couple of things from my heart to you, and that's that here in the Minnesota Vikings territory, it's been tough this season on us, and you've been one of the lone bright spots for our team. And I just want to share with you that you've captured the spotlight as well as our Purple Hearts, bro. And as you rehab that injury, we want you to focus on that and work hard. But we want you to be our all day, and more importantly than that, we want you to be our all decade.
That's right.
So, really make a smart decision here on what it is you do. Obviously, we know that the decision is yours and the medical team that you're dealing with, but we can't wait to see you back on the field, and just want to let you know that we believe you've got the heart of a lion inside your chest, and we can't wait to see you back. So we want to see you come back healthy.
Yeah, don't rush it back, AP. I mean, realistically, you've got a lot of years in this league in front of you. You've proven yourself this season to be a game-breaking type player. you're our whole offense at this point. I mean, realistically, you are the future of this franchise. Yeah. And Jeff, I sure hope that our coaching staff takes the same pessimistic, slow approach with AP as they have with Tavares Jackson. I mean, when Jackson had the groin injury early on, even though he was the unquestioned starter, the coaching regime held him back. Last week, Jackson was healthy, but they reserved him and let Bollinger play. I hope that Coach Childress isn't so preoccupied with how many wins and saving his job and those types of issues. I hope he does the right thing for the fans and the junkies out there in Purple Nation, which in my opinion is rest Adrian Peterson for at least a month. You know, he's got a torn ligament in his knee, Jeff, and a torn ligament takes around 6 to 8 weeks to start to heal to the point of where, you know, it's not torn anymore. It doesn't need surgery, but you know, let's let him rest for a while here.
Yeah, most definitely. Adrian, our hearts are with you. Our prayers are definitely going out for your knee and just for, you know, whatever it is that you've got to learn through this, you know, take it to heart. You know, we love you, man.
This week is really a big week for the Vikings as a team too, Jeffrey. I mean, without AP in the lineup, the offense has definitely had its problems. I think it's going to look somewhat stagnant from here going forward. And I mean, we will see the return of Chester Taylor to the starting lineup. This is a guy who had 1,216 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns last season as the full-time starter. He's got a chance to start here against Oakland, but to me, this game, I don't know why, but maybe I'm being too pessimistic now, but I just get the feel that there's about to be an implosion, and I almost get the feel that it could be at the hands of Dante Culpepper, who might well get his roll on in the Metrodome one more time just to give the Vikings fans a little bit more to be pissed at Brad Childress about, because Childress really was the reason Dante left.
Well, dude, if you think the Raiders are going to beat us, then you really are down, because we really match up well against this Raider team. They don't pass the ball really very well. Dante hasn't really got his roll on through the passing game yet. They've been able to do well on the ground, and our defense continuously stops the run. So I do think we match up very well against a team that is going nowhere. So I think that this is the kind of game that we should win, and that our defense can bring home the victory for us. You know, welcome back Dante. You know, it's going to be fun to see him back in the Metrodome. Hopefully he doesn't do something, you know, corny out there if he does get in the end zone. He's probably going to try to run one in, I would think, you know, which is something he did a lot when he was here and stuff. But still, you know, it's the Raiders, man. We should win.
Yeah, we definitely should win this game. I mean, they're coming to our house. This is a team that's only won 2 games all season. On the Raiders side of things, I really don't see any fantasy relevance here. You can't start Justin Fargas in this matchup, although our team was definitely exposed by the Packers with the running game last weekend. I think they will shore that thing up here this week. I don't think Fargas is a play. Since all the quarterbacks in the league are now in play again this week, no buys are going on. You can't start Dante. You really can't start either of the wide receivers here for Oakland. So for my money in this contest, the only real fantasy factor outside of the Vikings D would probably be Chester Taylor.
Yeah, I like Chester this weekend too. I think he should put up around 100 yards and a touchdown in a game that, you know, realistically is more for draft positioning than anything. And you know, I hear that there's a pretty deep quarterback class out there. We're going to definitely be in line for one of those with a top 10 pick, and or possibly the best pass rushing defensive end. So something that we need to start to look at because the NFL does not take an off season. So if we're going to have positivity, you know, we got to look forward rather than back.
One last question for you, Jeff, here before we move to the rest of the show. And by the way, we have a fantastic fantasy football show for you here in the Week 11 edition of Testosterone. John LaPooch is joining us from fanball.com.
The other J-Lo.
That's right. This will be John's second tour of duty right here on the set with us. He's going to be stopping by in the next segment. We're going to talk to him about some fantasy plays for the rest of the season. But, Jeff, I want to pose this question to you. With the turmoil going on right now at Winter Park, the whole thing with the players kind of having an uprising last week over Troy Williamson. His grandmother passed away, I believe. He left the team for a week. They weren't going to give him a game check as a result of that. When you combine that with the way the quarterback position has been completely mishandled under this regime, and realistically, like Viking Nation, probably 95% of all of the fans out there really are calling for Brad Childress's head at this point. Will Brad Childress be the head coach of the Minnesota Minnesota Vikings next year, entering the 3rd year of his 5-year deal?
Well, I mean, it's really impossible to say right now. This is the NFL, so we don't know what's going to happen from here till then. Also, we don't know what kind of plan Brad might be able to put together. One criticism that I have for our coaching staff is on the leadership side of things, it doesn't seem like they've done a real great job putting our team in a position to win. Some of the play calling, the choice to challenge certain plays has been a little bit suspect. So I really feel like with some of the other coaching possibilities that are out there, that we could make a very positive change this offseason. Potentially a Bill Cowher would be wonderful here. The Tuna is out there. He's been known to come out of retirement several times in a project situation. And it would be nice to see, our ownership, understanding that they don't know the game of football. Let's go out and get somebody who's proven to be a winner in the NFL.
Hey, man, you don't have to convince me. I'm ready right now. Yep. Personally, I almost hope that Dante comes in, gets his roll on. I almost hope we get embarrassed.
All right, this is the purple segment. Let's not go too far, okay, Jesse?
You got to you just got to feel the pain of that devastating loss last week.
Well, we're all feeling the pain right now. And we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. We're going to go to a break right now. We'll be right back. I'm going to turn the moderation seat over to you, Jesse. And it'll be Jesse and John bringing you some extra flavor here in the next segment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What's up, fantasy football junkies? It's Jesse talking to you about my favorite fantasy football website on the web. That's testosteronesports.com. Of course, it's my favorite because it's the website that goes hand in hand with this show that we love to do. The website, also a labor of love. But you're probably saying, Jesse, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for you is total league domination. The reason you've got to check out testosteronesports.com is we break down all of the matchups on a weekly basis. We have a bench start article that comes out every single week. Right after the show, we host a fat chat where you can come online with us, ask us your matchup related questions. We'll tell you who we think you should play and who we think you should stick on your fantasy bench. It's all about dominating your fantasy football league. And the best part is all of the content is updated daily and it's all completely free. Yes, that's right. You don't have to pay $49.95 to find out if your player practiced on Friday. I do up-to-date player profiling for all of the different players that are pertinent to your fantasy information, so you don't have to worry about going through a bunch of information that doesn't matter to you. All the players that we profile on our website, testosteronesports.com, are all fantasy relevant guys. So get on there, online, check it out, testosteronesports.com. There's games that you can play on there. It's just there's a plethora of things on there for the fantasy football junkies, and it's free, 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 free. I know everybody loves free things. My favorite thing in this life is free beer, but next to free beer, it's free fantasy football. So get online, check it out, testosteronesports.com to help you dominate your fantasy football league.